And we're here again, another day, another talk. And top for today is going to be this video that came into my Facebook feed, and it was a video about this Nick Fuentes kid talking about how he hates to be a wagey, right? And he uses this term wagey, which is a little. It's hilarious, I think. I just the way that he uses this word is almost like a little bit like a slur, but kind of interesting. And so we're going to talk about this conversation that he had, because I think Nick Fuentes is a pretty influential guy. I think we would all kind of agree that most people know who this person is, and he's one of the people I'll listen to from time to time. I listen to all kinds of people, but he's very young. Like, you have to remember this kind of stuff, that when you talk smack on the idea of somebody going to work earning a wage, that somehow they've messed up in life, that they're not smart enough to do what he does as like a commentator, or do what maybe a business owner does who works, based off a salary and works off of profits and revenues and things like that. There's this idea that being a wage people, you're dumb, right? If you're a wage worker, that somehow you're going nowhere and you're just spinning your wheels into oblivion and poverty and these kind of things. And I'm here to dispel all those things. I'm going to go over some things with you guys. Again, as a business owner, somebody who was a wagee for 25 years, I think pretty well articulate the good things about being a wage earner versus being a salaried worker, the benefits of being a wage worker versus a business owner, right? These kind of things. There's a lot of benefits, and being a wage worker is actually really, it's a good thing, especially if you're a young person or you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of skills, maybe you need to retrain, all these kind of things. Being a wage worker gives you access to a lot of training. It gives you access to a lot of opportunities to learn new things and to get thrown into the mix of a business or something that you're interested in. So being a wage worker is not a bad thing. So let's kind of go through this real quick, and we'll talk about what he was saying in this video specifically. I wrote down a few things, then we'll talk about like why this is kind of bullshit, if I'm being completely honest with you. So anyway, my name's Eric Wilkin. I own the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. Go to resplendentcrow.com if you want to see the kind of furniture we sell. I don't know if the people in this video are my customers necessarily. I don't think that they are, but you'll see that we're a real business. We do about 500 pieces a year. We do a small 7 figures in revenue, and we've got 8 or 9 employees at this point, and we have a great thriving business. And you don't have to make a ton of revenue as a business owner to make really good money, right? You can have a product that you spend a lot of time making, you make a decent income on, and that's okay. You don't have to be one of these people one of these SaaS companies that basically just makes a digital product, makes it one time, sells it a million times, makes a shit ton of money. Like, that all sounds great, but most people aren't gonna be able to do that, So having a business like what I have here in St. Louis, a real American-made furniture company, is possible. Anybody can do this. And again, as someone who never graduated high school, which I make sure I tell everybody, because I think it's really important that people understand that you don't have to follow the predetermined path. You don't have to follow a straight path to success. You can wind along the way and do what I did, which is basically be a fucking pinball and just bing, 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 bing. Good things can happen. So okay, so let's get into it. So I'm glad everyone's here. If you're in the discussion right now, hit the like button, add to the discussion, and let's bat this topic around. People seem to like the 12 o'clock time that we do these talks, so it's going to work out great. So what he's basically saying is he's saying that he could never be a wagey, right? The most popular live streamer in America is telling you that he doesn't understand how you could possibly wake up to an alarm clock every day, how you could possibly put together a lunch every day and go to the job site or go to the office. He doesn't understand how people can do that kind of stuff. He says that he would rather kill himself than have to do that kind of stuff. And this is people push this attitude in life a lot, and especially like in the last 20 years or so. It's like, if you get up every morning, go to work, in your junk car, and you come home and take a shower at the end of the day, somehow you're some kind of a loser. And if you don't go to college, get a degree, get an office job, you're somehow some kind of a loser. And when people talk like this, they do a real disservice to the majority of Americans, because the truth is not everyone can be a popular YouTuber or a popular Rumble streamer, or own a business, or come up with some unicorn idea that some SaaS company comes in and buys for $1 million, right? We can't all do that kind of stuff. Most of us are probably going to be middle class or lower middle class people in America, and that's okay. There's a lot of great opportunities as a wage worker, So he's talking about how he can't do the idea of going to the alarm clock, waking up from your dream. And he's a comedian. He's really funny, which is fantastic. But he talks about that. He talks about doing things that like he doesn't want to do when he wants to do them. You know, it's like this idea of having to get up at a certain time, having to take a shower so you get to work at a certain time, getting on the road before, you know, traffic hits, or getting on the road at a certain time so you can be at work at a certain time. This idea of having to show up is just anathema to everything he stands for. A 27-year-old streamer who probably makes $3 or $4 million a year, right? So I find that stuff kind of funny. He talks about the idea of going into work and listening to the phone ring all day. Like, he says that's death. He would rather kill himself than have to go to the office, you know, sit in your chair and be about a bunch of other fucking half-wits and listen to phones ring all day, send emails all day long. He just thinks that that is death. The repetitive nature of real work is for losers, and this kind of idea. And again, he's kind of joking about it a little bit, but at the same time, his point is, it's been my entire life. This has been literally what people have told me my entire life. They're like, if you don't go to college, you're a loser. If you don't, you know, start a business, you're a loser. If you don't follow this path of college and success to go work for some large company, you're a loser, you know? And again, it's all horseshit, guys. Like, I'm here to tell you, it's all horseshit. So he says that kind of stuff. And he basically says that, he says that this idea that people get into their cars and they drive to work, you know, 30, 40, 50 minutes a day in traffic to go to some job they hate. Like, he just can't fathom the idea of ever having to do it. Even though most of us, that's exactly what we do. Like, we don't necessarily want to drive into the city where most of the work is, right? But to be stuck in traffic, just, you know, sitting there, you know, like the scene, and you guys remember the movie Office Space, where he's in the scene and he sees the guy, the old man in the walker walking by, and he's like, God fucking, he's losing his shit. Like, that's like a lot of our existence, you know, and it's not that bad. Like, trust me, there's worse things in life than going somewhere and making money and bringing it home for your family, you know, so that you can buy cars and have animals and have kids and, you know, go on vacation, or just paying on your mortgage every month so that you're, you know, adding value in a home. Like, these are all noble things, you know, but again, kid's young, he's kind of naive. I don't think he gets it, to be quite honest with you. You know, so he's saying stuff like that. The other things he was saying is that you have to basically, when you go to work as a wagey, you know, someone who works for an hourly check or an hourly pay, that you're basically paying taxes to support black people, right? You're paying taxes 3 months out of the year so they can then give that money to a bunch of black people, which is incredibly racist, but he's not 100% wrong either. You know, I'm sure most of the people on welfare are either going to be black or super low income white people in like Appalachia. I mean, whatever stereotype you want to use. Point is you're paying a shit ton of money in federal taxes, and you're doing that to support a bunch of people that don't really want to work or aren't contributing to the tax system, or essentially parasites on the economy. And I wholeheartedly believe in all of that. But that's just some of the shit that this guy was saying. And it's like, I don't buy any of that crap. Like, I really don't. Like, I think it's bullshit that people think that if you take a regular salary or take a regular wage, that you're some kind of a loser. Like, let's talk about the positives, right? He just outlined all the negatives of what it is to come work for someone for an hourly wage. Let's talk about what the positives are, right? So what are the positives of working for somebody for an hourly wage, right? You're going to learn something. Like, I think that's the biggest thing of all. Like, this idea that people go to work and they just know everything, like, that's, like, again, that's ridiculous. You know, I think our mentality as Americans today has changed. It's like, well, you're going to college so that you learn things. I'm here to tell you that most people that come out of college, they don't know a fucking thing. They don't know anything. In fact, they're probably dumber than if they had just come to work for somebody right out of high school, right? Because they got all these fucked up thoughts about how life really is, you know, how work should really be, you know, how the environment should be, you know, how you should be talked to. These people have these crazy thoughts when they come out of college, and it's very hard to deprogram these people. And again, I say this as an employer, right? I say someone that hires and fires people literally for a living. I've been doing it for 10 years now at this point. I see this kind of stuff, you know? So the idea that you go take a wage job means you get an opportunity to learn something. It's a huge thing, right? And people like to bitch about the illegal immigrants. Like, everyone's crying about illegal immigration today. You know, it's like, well, these people, they can work for an hourly wage, and they'll work 3, 4, 5 jobs a week if they have to, right? They'll work as many jobs because they've never had that opportunity. And we don't tend to look at it like this in America, you know? So again, that's a huge benefit. You could start at the bottom rung of any company making a smaller wage, and you can build up to learning some skills and getting a higher wage, right? And you get a lot of cynics out there that'll say, oh, that's not how it works. My boss doesn't want to pay me. My boss doesn't like me. Oh, so-and-so's, you know, it advances faster than me. They're getting all the promotions. I'm not getting anything. It's not fair. No one notices me, blah, 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 blah. but you have the opportunity, right? You could always go work someplace else. You know, you're not stuck. That's one of the great things about America is there's fucking jobs everywhere. Like they're absolutely everywhere. Like today, if I lost my job, I'd have a job tomorrow. You know, not only because of the people that I know, but because I see help wanted signs all over the place. So when people tell you that they can't go find different jobs, like I don't buy it for a second. So that's one of the cool things about working a wage job. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of opportunities to learn new things, you know, if you're willing to work for a little bit less money, you know. So that's one of the things I thought was kind of messed up. And the other thing, like when he talks about things like going to work, right, getting up on time, these kind of things, and how he hates that idea of having to be somewhere he doesn't want to be. A lot of people, I mean, if we're being 100% honest, a lot of people in life need the structure. You know, it's if everyone had the ability to just self-motivate constantly, everyone would own their own business, right? And no one would have to work for anybody else. We would just buy services from each other. But the truth is that most people can't do that. They don't have it, you know, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It takes all kinds of people to make the world go round. But at some point, you got to be willing to say, you know, it's like, I probably don't have the structure, you know, to go work on this business every single day. Like you need someone to tell you, hey, we start at 7 a.m. You know, this is what you got to do. Bring your lunch to work because there's nowhere around here to go get lunch, you know. So you start stacking up your time schedule. You start getting in the habit of showing up on time and leaving early, being prepared for traffic, being prepared for weather. These things, they're not bad. And lots of people just love to talk shit on all these things. Like, oh, it's not fair that I got to get up and go to work every day. I got to put on a uniform. It's like, yeah, you got to do that kind of stuff. Like, it's okay. It's okay to have some structure in your life. And that's one of the things about wage jobs that are really helpful. So people learn this kind of structure when they go to work. They learn this kind of structure of showing up on time, right? Of learning to be punctual. It's very important. Looking good, dressing well, presenting yourself right at work, right? Once you've done this stuff for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, maybe you could start a business, right? Maybe you could be the person that you spent 10 years learning this stuff as a wage worker. Well, then you find a better way to do it. Maybe you compete with your old business's customers, and then you do it for yourself, right? And then you're the person saying, you know what? You got to show up on time, right? You might have to leave early. You know, you might have to get up early and take a shower, and you got traffic coming, you got weather coming, you got to show up early, you got to dress well. You become that person, and you make your society better, you know? But if everyone is just a fucking, you know, TikToker and just talks for a living on the internet, like what are we doing? You know, that's why I kind of make fun of a lot of these YouTube woodworkers and a lot of these YouTube personalities is because they don't really work, right? They are personalities first, right? They're looking for clicks. They're looking for subscriptions. They're looking to sell you t-shirts and mugs and hats and all kinds of, because they don't have a real product to sell. They don't have a real business back behind them. Whereas me, I have an actual company, right, where we make real American furniture, and I show everybody how I do it because our business comes first. The content get in tomorrow. It doesn't matter. I don't do the content because it makes me money, because it doesn't. Like, all the money is in the furniture. It's in teaching people how to work, expecting people to show up on time, expecting people to be presentable when they come to work, expecting people to not bring their personal shit to work, right? It's very important that you teach these people these kind of things. You know, so again, this idea of being a wage worker, I don't know about you guys, I don't buy it. Like, I think wage workers are awesome. I think that it takes, again, all kinds of people to make the world go round. So he says that kind of stuff. You know, the other thing he says, I couldn't go into an office. I couldn't stand to hear the phone ring all day and hear people, you know, clicking on their mouses, you know, sending emails, blah, 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 blah. It's like, when I hear that kind of stuff, like, that says to me, like, this guy has never had a business in his life. And even though he probably sells merch and has subscriptions and all that kind of stuff, my guess is he didn't do it. He probably had someone do it on the back end for him. When I hear the phone ring, you know what that means? Cha-ching, cha-ching, that's called money, right? So when someone says, oh, they couldn't stand to be in that kind of a situation, like, they're just naive. They're ignorant about how business really works, how people really make money. You know, whether you're the guy selling a product, you're the guy making a product, you're the guy, whatever, buying a product, you're the guy keeping a product in stock. Like, this is how real work is. And these people are so naive as to what the economy is really like, what business is really like, what people really have to do in the real world to make the world go round. Like, you know, these people that bitch about wage workers, like, you don't bitch about the fucking guy coming to pick up your trash every week. Like, he's a wage worker. What, you want to go tell him how shitty his existence is? Like, your existence would probably get pretty crappy if the garbage guy stopped working. You know, like the mailman. You know, again, what do you do when the mailman stops showing up? He's a wage worker. You just gotta not get your mail anymore, not get your bills anymore. You're going to make fun of the guy that delivers your mail and picks up your garbage every day. Like, I don't think that's a good move, you know? And so anyway, these are some of the things, like, wage workers are super important. They literally make the world go round. And you get these YouTube people and these Rumble people and these X people, and they just denigrate these kind of workers like they're not really that valuable and their existence sucks, you know, and it's just super frustrating. Again, as someone who hires these kind of people, who was one of these wage workers or a wagey for 25 years, like, I need these people. These people are great. They literally make the economy go round, you know? So again, fuck this guy and his weak-ass argument about, oh, I could never get up in the morning when I don't want to. The idea of waking up to alarm, it's so terrible. It's terrible. Like, give me a break. That's how we all live. That's how most people live, you know? So again, he really bugs me. And the other thing is, a lot of these people that shit on wage workers, these are the people that are like, you need to bring manufacturing jobs back. We need factory jobs here. And then you're like, okay, well, what the fuck do you think those people work for? You think they're all salary people? You think they get paid on clicks? No, motherfucker. They get paid a salary. An hourly wage, right? They're a wagey, you know, your slur to the people that work regular jobs. Like, those are the people that you're supposed to be for. You know, you want the factory jobs. You want all the manufacturing jobs to come back, the things where actually make shit. But then you're going to talk shit about the people that are going to do that work. Like, it's really weird, you know. Anyway, this is the problem with being young. Is like you don't have the ability to think before you talk, and you haven't been able to live much life. And anyway, point is that like this guy, again, hilarious. Some of his points are valid, but geez Louise, like, it's like he can talk one day and completely forget what he said last week, right? He just can't. He doesn't have a core set of values for what he believes about himself and the people around him, you know? So a lot of guys like to say this guy's like super racist and a terrible person and all this kind of, and yeah, he does harbor some of those thoughts, you know, but man, young people are dumb. Young people say dumb shit all the time, and that's okay. Like, you can't just immediately dismiss somebody forever because they say something dumb, especially when they're young. And 27, I guess, isn't really young, but you're right at the line where, you know, you're old enough, you know. So anyway, I just thought it'd be a good thing to talk about this Nick Fuentes situation and his basic slur about wage workers, right? Like, wage workers are literally the people that make the world go round. I don't like it when people talk this way about normal people that have to get up and go to work every day. Because again, as a business owner, I rely on these people. I was one of these people for 25 years, and someone's got to stick up for these people because they don't get much love. I mean, they're basically one of the big things that really bothers me about wage workers and salary workers is that wage workers don't understand that they're basically being fucked on the tax end really bad. A wage worker is going to pay 25% tax into the federal government. They're going to pay all the state tax. They're going to pay all their local taxes, as far as income taxes, right? They're going to pay all this stuff full freight, you know. And the more you make, the more that they take, right? Whereas people like myself who own businesses, we actually keep our salaries artificially low. Right? So like, I pay myself I'm like 50 grand a year. I think it's something I pay myself. But if my business turns a profit, right, that profit is taxed at a much lower rate than the average wage worker, right? And that's an incentive for people to start businesses for sure. But at the same time, it's not really fair. You know, if I don't want to pay myself a big salary, if I don't want to make a bunch of money as profit, I can just buy equipment all year long. I could go buy a private jet. I could go buy a Mercedes G-Wagon, right? And then I could write it off on my business and not have to pay taxes as income. Even though I technically bought something for myself, it's for my business, and I'll find ways to use it, right? So like the way that when you buy a jet works is that you buy a jet, and that jet suddenly becomes something that you can rent out to people when you're not using it. You can draw an income on it, starts to pay for itself. Meanwhile, you depreciated it on year one when you bought it with the profits you made instead of paying taxes on that as income. You guys see how this stuff kind of works? Every business in America does this, and this is why you guys want to be business owners. But you have to be a wage worker first. You got to learn how to do some shit before you can go start a company. So, okay, people starting to come into the feed. Again, I don't know if this is a topic people want to talk about. It's just, this is something that, again, I just pick something every day. I see something that kind of annoys me or something that I'm really positive about, and that's what I choose to talk about every day here about noon o'clock. So, okay, Amber Dinsdale's in here. This is 9578. Says, hello, Amber, good to see you. Glad you're here. Let me know where you guys are at. Hit the like button again. Kick it and add to the discussion. So this is Squeakslacum. What great name. Okay. Let's see. 3285. I'm a wage worker and I don't give a shit what he thinks. Well, and again, I was a wage worker forever, and I personally, I don't care what this guy thinks either. But at the same time, I don't need people that don't earn wages talking shit on people that do, right? Because again, like, what would you do if the trash guy stopped working, right? You want to go talk shit on the trash guy and then he's not going to pick up your trash, right? You get something broken in your home, right? You're whatever, you bust a pipe and you got to have a new sewer pipes ran, right? You go talk shit on the plumber, the plumber apprentice who you know is making an hourly wage. You go talk shit on that guy, right? Because he earns a wage. Like, again, that guy who's earning a wage as a plumber, laying your sewer pipe, right? That guy probably is going to do the wage work for 5, 10, 15 years. Then he may start his own company with all the stuff that he learned as a wage worker. And again, the business owner who turns a salary out like I do, makes his money off profits at the end of the year. These people hire wage workers and use wage workers to make all of our lives better. They're the future business owners of America. So super important that people understand that you can't talk shit on wage workers. Like, without them, all of our lives go to shit, right? And the best example, the best modern example we have of this is going to be your COVID, right? Remember when COVID happened? All the people that got to stay home were all these fucking salaried workers. The people who are getting paid by the government, paid by the school district. All these whiny fucks basically said that, everyone needs to stay home. Oh, wait a minute. But the trash guy, he still has to show up every week, right? The plumber, that comes in that fixes your backed up toilet, right? He gets to work every day, right? The electrician that needs to come in and fix your electrical problems, he gets to work every day. A lot of people got to work because they helped the people that weren't the wage workers. You weren't going to upset their apple cart, but if you had a small business that maybe had a small grocery store, maybe you had a small hardware store, kind of like an Ace True Value type situation, you weren't allowed to be in business. But again, as long as you're helping to support the people that, are being paid salaries, people that don't actually have to do real work, right? Those people are more than happy to let you work. COVID's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Like, these people, they're awful. They're horrible people. So, I get who's this sweet look up? I can't get over your name, dude. Your name's hilarious. Okay, I get that. But I wouldn't let it annoy you because wage workers don't care. We have real problems. That's cool. And again, but I'm not saying this as again, I used to be a wage worker. Like, now I'm a small business owner. I got 8, 9, 10 employees at this point. And it just bugs me as someone who used to do this job, used to be the wage worker, that I gotta listen to people who've never done my job to tell me, how I should feel about my job. Like, it's just, somebody's got to stick up for the people that make $15 an hour, right? The people that have to drive into the job site in some shitty Honda Civic, with their work boots on and their uniform on. Like, these are the people that, like I said, I really care about, because I used to be one of these people. Hell, I still am one of these people. I still build furniture all day long. I still have to go, go get shit at the lumber store and I go do all kinds of things, but I'm also a business owner. And I think that if you don't respect the people that do the minimum wage work, the lower wage work, the lower talent work, if you don't appreciate those people, then you're not going to have the future business owners of America, because that's where it all starts. This idea that everyone just passed down a business from their dad, or maybe they're just generationally wealthy, or people just, I don't know how the hell people think that businesses start, but a lot of businesses start, because of people that worked wage jobs, So someone's got to stick up for these people. It's really important to me. And again, it's cool that it doesn't bother you. It doesn't necessarily bother me either. But I try and do a talk every day around noon about something. I don't know what it is, but I just got to pick something to talk about. Sometimes I pick like a topic that is super relevant. Sometimes I'll make sure I put Trump in my title, because I know for whatever reason, that guy just draws everybody in. It's like they love to argue about Trump, or like yesterday was Megyn Kelly, people like that kind of stuff, but I want to talk about real issues and real things. Adding Nick Fuentes in there, yeah, super important, because he's a very popular streamer. His content is very relevant right now. But at the same time, this kid's super out of touch with how the economy really works. Again, because what this guy does in his spare time is he probably reads books and reads articles and is essentially a developing intellectual is what I would call him. He doesn't know fuck all about work. He doesn't know anything about starting businesses. He doesn't know anything about lower wage workers, about what the lower class needs so they can become middle class, so they can become the future business owners of America. That's the stuff that I talk about. So, okay, let's keep digging into comments here. But who's a Squeaks, man, I appreciate what you're saying. And let me know what you do. I'm curious what your wage job is. I was a furniture maker for my entire life. I've always built furniture. I've always built cabinets. I spent 20 years at aerospace making cabinetry for the inside of private jets like Gulfstreams, Cessnas, Hawker Beechcrafts. I did some Bell helicopters. I did all the Boeing E-4B Doomsday planes that hold all the nuke codes. I mean, I've worked on Saudi Princess, Sultan of Brunei, celebrities, sports people, I mean, you name it, entertainers, everybody. I've worked on everyone's jets at one point or another. Great work, always made good money, had a great middle class life my entire life, because of that wage job, right? The wage job, it started out as started out as $10 an hour when I first got into making furniture, and I ended making something like $33 an hour. It wasn't like the biggest money, but that was before COVID, when the government completely fucked over our country by printing $11 trillion, right? It was like $33 meant something back then. Now, $33 is like the minimum you need to kind of make it in America today, which is really sad. So, okay, we got this is Amber Dinsdale. Hope I'm saying that right. Amber, I hope that's your real name. I love when people put their real names on here. It means that the stuff that you say actually means something, right? You actually put some thought into it, because if it's your real name, you're not going to be some one of these goobers that says dumb shit all the time. So, okay, let's see. Dick Fuentes has never had a proper job. He just whines. Yeah, no, I get it. That's kind of what I'm saying. And the guy's humorous. He's funny. And again, I like watching him from time to time. His content's fine, and everyone calls him a racist and a white supremacist. And I just chalk it up to the guy's young. He doesn't have a lot of experience in life, and young people say dumb shit all the time. But yeah, he definitely whines a lot. Is definitely a big complainer. But again, as a huge advocate for wage workers, right? For people that work with their hands, for people that make real shit, because the truth is that when you make real shit every day, you don't get paid a lot of money. For some reason, our economy has geared towards knowledge workers, people that think, people that manage, right? And that's changing big time, guys. Like, again, as someone who owns a furniture company where we actually build furniture here in America, I don't outsource it, right? I'm not paying, some fucking illegal type situation or third world type situation. We really make stuff here in America using real plywoods and real hardwoods and real workers, and pay real taxes and real salaries and real everything, real transportation companies. Being a business is really hard, So yeah, that kid he's young and kind of, what do they say, young, dumb, and full of cum. Like, Jesus, that's just how that kid is. So anyway, who we got? BMB, no, it's just BMG Ben. Gee, I don't know what the hell you're saying. 7,500. Good, you're here. Okay, let's see. We wouldn't be working and being paid if we would get actual fair compensation, and the net goes back to people that will come into this country illegally and do it for less than we would. Go to your next comment. Why would they pay us more if they know that people can come? Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to read you a couple over. Why would they pay us more if they can know that people are going to come in and do it less, and they're going to live in multiple houses? Yeah. Well, okay. So what you're saying there is what I talk about all the time, right? And this is my big argument: is that you have to cut off the third world, right? That's where it starts. You cut off the third world, you allow materials to come into the country, but there is no manufactured goods coming in. Because believe it or not, we do have people here that can do this work. They'll tell you that we don't. But what Nick Fuentes says about you work for the first 3 months in taxes, basically, to the federal government, right? You're paying that before any of that money is yours. He's 100% right. And what I'm always telling you guys that you're not going to hear from anybody on YouTube or X or anything is that they're growing this pile of people that they're putting on welfare, right? So it used to be the stereotypical, black people are on welfare. The poor white, hicks out in Appalachia, they're all on welfare. The dummies in Mississippi and the dummies in Alabama, these poor people, they're all on welfare. Well, what's happening is they're actually putting more and more people on welfare, right? It's essentially becoming a form of UBI, right? So why would they hire you, BMG, when they can bring in an illegal person to come in and do your job, right? They're not going to complain, right? They're not going to get sued, right? It's a situation where they may not even have to pay them as much. They may pay them a good salary. Who knows? But point is that they're not going to complain, right? And they can get rid of that worker easily and not have to worry about being sued. Or why would they pay you, BMG, when they can take your job, outsource to the third world, get it made over there? They don't have to worry about regulations. They don't have to worry about paying you a big salary. They don't have to worry about paying you taxes. They don't have to worry about you suing them. They don't have to worry about nothing. Your personal problems, they have to worry about your personal problems. None of that shit, right? So that's why they're either bringing in illegal help or they're bringing in the third world, right? That's what they're doing. And then they're going to put you on welfare, right? Or if you want to prolong welfare, you can go to college, get a bullshit degree that is no good, and also they'll pay for you to they're basically subsidizing your living when you pay for college now, which is really wild. You're not even required to work. Like what a racket. Whoever thought that was okay? I don't understand that. But anyway, that's what they're doing. So everybody here is potentially going to be out of a job because, again, they'll bring in the third world. they'll send your job to the third world. They'll put you on welfare. Like that's really what they're going to do. And it's a damn shame, and when you get these kids talking about, the idea of doing that kind of work, it's like, what a slap in the face. It's like, it's already hard enough. Trump was supposed to kick a lot of these people out, right? He was supposed to tariff the third world. Like, he was supposed to do the things that would make things more expensive in America, but you would be paid more because the pool of workers actually shrinks, right? The cost of your housing would actually go down. They always tell you it would go up. But the cost of your housing would go down because all these people would be out of here, right? I mean, what would you do with 10 million people gone? How much housing would that open up, right? It would be wild. And all these homes that people are renting out now to the third worlders, right? Who's going to work on those houses when all those third worlders are gone? Who's going to frame houses? Who's going to do the roofing work? Who's going to pick the vegetables? And guess what? All the people on welfare, just put them to work. Like, you want some welfare? What if we just got rid of the welfare and sent everyone to work by kicking out all the third worlds and stopping all the manufacturing of everything in the third world? You got to do that stuff here. Guess what? Everybody's wages go up. Your taxes go down. But they won't do it. Trump won't do it. Like, the guy's he's a complete chicken hawk. Like, he talks all this shit to get elected. Then when he gets in office, he just sends all of our tax dollars over to the third world by way of our military. Right? Like, what do you, like the guys right now, all the people on YouTube right now, all these, not YouTube, X, right? Everyone's like, oh, we're sending the armada over to Iran. Oh my God, America's going to go over there and we're going to show these guys, fuck around and find out, like, this is incredible, greatest president ever. And it's like, well, a lot of people don't have work here, right? We got a lot of people that are waiting for you to kick out all the people that you ran on, so they can have a good job, a better paying job. And you're not doing any of that. The whole thing that went on in Minnesota, you're pulling out of Minnesota because somebody got killed. Like, what did you think was going to happen when you started kicking all these people out? Because as a voter, like, I knew full on well, people are going to die. Like, people are going to be very unhappy. You're going to have people fighting in the streets, but that's what I voted for. I voted for the chaos of kicking these fucking people out of here so that we could all have better paid jobs, right? I voted for this so that we could kick out the third world, right? All the manufacturers, all the businesses send all your jobs to the third world instead of paying you the $32.50 an hour you're owed, right? They send it to the third world, right? I voted for 400% tariffs. That's what I voted for. But again, Trump's not doing any of that because all the people that make the money are paying him, right? Those fucking Trump accounts you guys just heard about. You guys hear about this today? Trump accounts? Again, oh, it's going to be amazing. Everyone's going to get $1,000 when they're born. Well, what? All the illegals, do they get? All these people that bring their kids in here and then they have kids in America, do those fucking anchor babies, did they get $1,000 a month? Because I didn't pay for that. I didn't vote for that, right? Is that my money? Where the fuck is that money coming from? As a taxpayer, I think you should ask me because I didn't vote for that shit at all. Not one bit. And you'll say, oh, well, Michael Dell gave whatever, $8 billion to pay for the initial round of this. So what? So now all of the large corporations that send all the work overseas are going to use that money that they bring back in here to America by not giving you a good job. And they're going to basically give every baby $1,000 with the money that came in from the third world because they don't have to pay you a real salary. I didn't vote for that either. What are we doing here? Why? They'll do the math. The math says, well, this is going to be great. We can buy votes. We can essentially get everyone to love us by bribing, right? And this is what you do with welfare, right? This is why we have a major problem getting rid of the welfare in America today is because so many people that are on it get to vote for it, right? And when it's all you have, you're going to vote to keep it no matter what. It doesn't matter how shitty things get. It doesn't matter, how much you're not being paid, what you need to be paid. You're not getting the benefits that you need to get. They're going to continue to vote for what they have because it's all that they have. The idea that, again, if you tell them, hey, you can go earn a wage, you go work 40 hours a week and make $9.50 an hour, you'd be like, fuck you, I'll stay on welfare. Why would I want to vote for that? But if I said, you know what, you could work 40 hours a week and make $24 an hour, it's like, well, now we're talking real money. Now we're getting somewhere. But again, if you allow the third world to come into America and you export the jobs and all the manufacturers of the third world, guess what? They're not going to pay you jack shit. You're going to be on welfare, which is where they want you, right? Which will then turn into UBI and you're fucked. You're fucked. Which is why I'm always telling you guys, if you want to start a small business, you need to cater to the 1% because whether you like them or not, they're the ones that are going to be around constantly buying stuff. And there's nothing more than wealthy people like than American-made stuff, okay? That's why they all fly around in Gulfstream jets. American made, right? They fly around Cessna jets, American made. All the components made in America, all the furniture made in America. These people buy American made stuff, and it's a bad situation, guys. Like I said, I feel bad for a lot of people. We can fix this, but again, when you vote for a president, they don't do the things they ran on, especially like the big pillars, right? Closing the borders, check, done, right? Kicking out the mass deportations, not even fucking close. Didn't happen, right? That was the other big thing. Like, I don't remember what the last thing was. I think I had one more thing that he ran on. Maybe someone can put it in the comments. But we got big problems. You know, and again, as business owners, if we don't push back on these large corporations sending all your work to the third world, we got big problems, right? Like, think about it. I say this all the time, guys. A company like Nike, which everyone knows this company, which is why I use them. You could also use Apple. Apple is another great example of this. When these companies manufacture 94% of all their products in the third world, and then they bring all of that money back into America, what do you think they do with all that money, right? Do you think they're trying to teach the next generation of business owners to compete with them? Like, they're not. They're passing legislation through politicians that make it harder for you to start a business, for me to start a business. They're passing legislation that makes minimum wages higher, which sounds good to people that are wages, right, that work for a wage, because they think, well, I'm going to make more money. Well, what they're actually doing is they're making it so that when you as a small business owner, you're starting a business in your garage, you got to pay somebody $20 an hour when you don't make any fucking money, right? You're trying to make money when you should be able to pay somebody $10 an hour. If you get someone to work for you as a guy who has one employee, like, if they want to work, you should be able to do that. But again, when you make it $20 an hour, much harder for people to start a business. And people don't think about it like that. They just think about themselves and how much more money they want to make. They don't understand that it's harder for the small businesses to start businesses, for you to start a business, right? And everyone says, oh, take the money from the wealthy people. Take the money from the wealthy people. Businesses need to pay their fair share. It's like, well, what do you guys want? Like, do you want to focus on Iran, right? Do you want to focus on Greenland? You want to focus on snatching leaders out of Venezuela, you know, or do you want to focus on the fact that your president fucking lied to you, like, hardcore? And again, I voted for Trump. I've been a Trump fan ever since that guy got into politics. But he's fucking lied to all of us, every one of us. Hasn't kept a promise yet. You know, did close the border, give him that, you know. But this idea of tax cuts, the only reason these people give tax cuts out is because it goes to large corporations. You don't hear them talking about anything about giving small businesses something unique, right? It's only something that helps all businesses. It can never just be small businesses, right? It can't be the people that would then compete with the large corporations. They'll never let that happen, guys. It'll never happen. You know, that's why when they pass tax cuts, the ones for the businesses are always permanent. The ones for you and I, not so much. Yes. So anyway, sorry guys, I know, Brant. Let's go through some more comments. And BMG, man, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you put your comments in. And thanks for contributing to the conversation. Okay, who's this? Hella Holenkamp. All right, good to see you. Glad you're here. Trump, okay, I don't know what that means. Like Nick out of prison and gives him money. I don't know exactly what you're saying there. Are you saying like Nick's is a plant or a? Somebody's like, they say some of these talk people are like CIA plant type. I don't know if that's what you're saying. I don't know if I buy any of that crap, but whatever. Okay. Let's see, who's this? Let's see, Squeaks is back in here. Okay, I've always said everyone should work fast food for 1 year to see what people go through. Yeah, and then I'm not opposed to that. But the thing is, here's the thing, Squeaks, that I think people forget, right? So it used to be, back in my day, when you went to work, like I went to work very young, like 10 years old, right? And it wasn't like I went, you know, I'm slaving away 40 hours a week. It's, you start off young working for your parents, right? I used to go to work with my dad, who was, he welded natural gas lines, did Teflon welding. He was a union worker. And I'd go out on the job site with them. They'd let me, as a young person, fuck around with the backhoes, you know, or the excavators, which was kind of a lot of fun. So I got to play around with the backhoe when I was really young. I'd go in the job site, you know, I'd be in the truck with these guys hanging out there, you know, for a couple hours till I could go to the babysitter. And I'd be going through the Playboy magazines, looking at Hustler, you know, because that's what guys did, you know. And to keep me busy, my dad would always have me do like goofy shit, you know, like one time he had me climb up a telephone pole. He said if I could climb to the top of this telephone pole, and again, I'm young, guys, I'm like 10. He says if I climb to the top of that telephone pole, he'd give me $20. Next thing you know, I'm wrapping myself in duct tape because they just had all kinds of freaking materials in the back of their truck. I wrapped my body in duct tape backwards, of course, and then I kind of worked my way up the pole. It was hilarious. My dad saw it. He couldn't fucking believe it. He thought it was the wildest shit he'd ever seen, you know. But you start learning about work when you're really young, and I don't think we do that today. I think that academia has come in and washed out the idea of work. I think college has been a scourge on this country. Because they basically taught us that everything has to be safe, everything has to be manicured, everything has to be, you know, appropriate, And this idea that parents can do what they want with their kids, this idea that you can drive whatever kind of car you want, live in whatever kind of house you want, build a home on your own property, do whatever you want with that property, it's all been kind of washed, right? Spend your dollars as you want to spend them, not as the government says that you should spend them. This idea of this personal autonomy, it's gone. We don't have it today, you know, and it's a big problem. We need to bring that back. Like, kids need to go to work when they're young, at least see what work is like. When you're in high school, same thing. You need to have an after-school job. If you're not doing sports or some kind of chess club or debate or whatever, you need to do something. You know, this idea you just sit at home and play video games and fuck your mind up with social media and porn and all this kind of stuff, like, I think that's a real problem, you know. This idea of not working when you go to college, it should actually be a prerequisite that if you want to go to college, you want to go, whether that's get a BA in science, you want to go get a master's degree, you want to go do a PhD type situation, you should have to have a bona fide job outside of the academic system, right? Because what's happened is a lot of these academics and a lot of people in college, they think that everything's supposed to be like college, which I'm here to tell you is college is not real. There's nothing real about college. Again, as someone who hires and fires people, you don't know how many people I've had come in here that want to sand or they want to make furniture because they went to college and got a PhD and fuck all, and it's worthless, right? And so they just suddenly change their mind again, you know, and it's created a lot of problems in our country today. I hope people kind of understand this stuff. This is, again, I didn't go to college. I didn't graduate high school, so I am a little biased. Most of my family are highly educated, and we go back and forth all the time, right? But again, I'm the business owner, did pretty good. Had to move around a bunch, but I managed to figure it out. I think more people can relate to my story than a lot of these other people's stories. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, everyone's work fast food. Yeah, again, people need to work with fast food because you need to know what the little guy goes through. Like, when you talk shit on wage workers and say how fucking dumb you are because you got a wage job, well, again, you don't say that to the trash guy, right? You don't say that to the mailman, right? You don't say that to the fucking police officer that's protecting you when people are out harassing your wife, right? You don't say, when someone breaks in your home and the cop shows up and pulls out his fucking gun and goes in there ready to kill motherfuckers, like, you don't talk shit on that wage worker, right? You guys just have this negative idea, and I shouldn't say you guys, but this Nick Fuentes guy, you just have this negative perception of what it means to be a wage worker, right? To earn a regular wage salary, whatever you want to call it, not a salary, but a wage type job. You know, it's goofy, guys, and we need to fix this. And again, if more people were allowed to start businesses and more people were allowed to get closer to what to where you have to deal with the tax system, you have to deal with hiring and firing people, we have to deal with other groups of people, we become a lot more empathetic and a lot more understanding to the plight of everybody, not just certain people, right? Certain people in your little tiny world. So yeah, good comment, Squeak. I agree with you on that one, man. See, none of these people in chat know about hard work either. Well, and again, who's this? This is ProFolk. Is that how I say that? ProFolk 22. That's kind of presumptuous, right? Like, I have no idea. I'm here. Like, I work 70 hours a week, and I still find time to do these talks. You know, I still want to show people how to make furniture. I want to talk about small business. I want people to go to my website and see what kind of furniture I have, what kind of business I run. Because trust me, no one on here is going to buy my furniture. The people that I talk to, you guys are going to pay $10,000 for a credenza. Maybe there is somebody, but for the most part, probably not going to. But that's okay, right? I speak to the people that are like me, I would imagine, that did what I did, which is make furniture, right? It's like, we have normal hourly jobs. You know, my first job was $10 an hour, right? Ended in aerospace making $33 an hour. Now I make quite a bit more money, but there are years as a business owner where I have to mortgage my home. I've told you guys many times, like, I had a beautiful Lotus Evora. You know, I had to sell the thing because I need to make payroll. Like, this is what running a business is really like. You know, some years you're up, some years you're down. And when you're a wage workers have a lot of predictability, a lot of structure, and not everybody wants to have that kind of risk. You know, business owners, they'll always, you know, a lot of business owners will say, oh, it's tough. You know, some years it's good, some years it's bad. They will never tell you exactly what they had to do because they see it as embarrassing, right? It's hard to sell a program to somebody. It's hard to say, oh, here's how you could start a business just like me. You could be just like me. And they'll show you a picture of their G-Wagon, you know, and their Lambo, and they'll tell you all this stuff like, be just like do what I did, buy my course, buy my program, buy my book, right? But when you want to get specifics, like, well, how have you failed? How did you get to this place? They're never going to tell you, oh, I had to mortgage my home in 2022 because, you know, I fucking made all these stupid mistakes as a business. I didn't really know what I was doing. They're never going to tell you that shit. They're never going to tell you I had to, you know, go sell all the shit that I bought when I thought I was this great business owner. They're never going to tell you that stuff. It's because you can't sell it. It doesn't work for people. They'll always tell you, oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. But hey, guess what? I got all the answers. Don't do what I did. I'm going to give you the best way to do it. When the truth is that to be a business owner, you have to do the real work. You have to go through the shit. There's no book. There's no program that is just going to make you wealthy. And again, a lot of these business owners, they tell you that kind of stuff, and almost all of them are full of shit. Absolutely all of them are full of shit, So you need to get people, you're talking about real businesses, real ways to make money, whether you're a wage worker, a low, minimum wage type worker, or you're making $500,000 a year, right? And if people can't talk about both experiences, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So I'll leave it at that, okay? But let's see, this is Gene Johnson. All right, man, good to see you here. Gene Johnson says, Nick is going to be Nick, and I kind of agree with him. I've found it harder and harder to pull myself out of bed. I don't have the answer, though. We can't all be podcasters. Yeah, and again, like this idea of getting out of bed, like again, it's not supposed to be easy, right? Like I fucking hate getting out of work. But here's the truth, guys. A lot of people, unless they have that job that they have to go to and they have to be there at 7 a.m., they're not going to get up, man. I'm sorry. Like you can develop that talent, right? You can work on that skill of showing up on time, of getting up on time, whatever it might be. But you got to have something out in the distance that's basically saying, you better fucking get here. A lot of people need that stuff, and that's not a bad thing. It's not to say that you're a bad person because you need that structure. That's a good thing. And a lot of people, it's the most structure that they have in life, because if it's not going to work at home, life is chaos. Right? I mean, how many times have we seen the person that shows up to work every day, seems like he does a great job, but then the minute he gets off work, he's going to the bar, right? Or he's getting stoned. Like, how many fucking people get loaded all the time? Like, I see more people that are constantly high now than I've ever seen before. It's like, you could never do that in my job, right? In aerospace, right? If you get a charge for drugs, you're blacklisted. You can't work in aerospace, right? Which means you don't get the prestige of getting to work on high security planes, right? You don't get to work on celebrity planes. You get to work on things that require FAA sign-offs, QA inspections, all these kind of things. You get to work on any of that shit. You're blacklisted, So you need that skill of not giving into your weaknesses all the time. And again, wage work, I think, is a fantastic way to get there, And again, everyone's different. Some people love to get up early, other people don't, Some people work best at night, other people work best in the morning, Like we're all different, but that structure is super important. And just because you work that kind of a job, you're not less than somebody else. You're just as important. Like all of my employees are just as important as I am, right? I'm the boss. I own the fucking thing, but I can't do my job without them, right? I can't make the money that I make that I would like to see everybody make without those people. And if you think for a second that I don't take the best care of them that I possibly can, you're fucking crazy. But they all have expectations. Everybody has expectations, just like I got expectations. We all need each other. So anyway, I didn't like what he was saying, Gene. Like he seemed, I like this kid. I like a lot of what he says. There's no doubt about it. There's things I don't agree with him on, but he's like just another person that I like to listen to. I like to listen to people on the left and on the right, and people that are in the film industry, people that are have small businesses, people that like to talk about movies. Like I love all kinds of things, and this is just one of those guys. But he, I believe, is the most popular streamer, I think is what you would call it, in America today, which means that the most people are listening to him at one time. Like right now, there's like 14 people on here. He's probably got 50,000 people that are listening to him. And so the things that he's saying really matter. And from what I understand, he speaks to a young audience. And I'm here to tell you guys that the young people need it more than anybody. And they don't need somebody telling them that if you're a wagey, that you're somehow some kind of a loser. Or you're not as good as you should be, or life isn't fair. These kind of things. Like, I don't like that message, especially from someone who has such a large platform, So anyway, point is that this is obviously a small stream. I try to do this once a day. I'll never be a Nick Fuentes. I'm not trying to be, but I just want to make this message known. I'm trying to grow the stream just a little bit. And again, real business owner, real products, real American-made stuff, someone who actually understands tariffs and importing as opposed to all these fake experts that you see on television. That's what we're doing here. So, Gene, thanks for the comment, dude. Okay, Squeaks is back. That's pretty dope. So, yeah, let's see. Gene says, hard work shouldn't be seen as a honor. Hard work shouldn't be seen as a honor. Okay, let's go to that. Hard work is something you should figure out how to avoid. Well, that's fair. Wages will always be victims in the end. Okay, so Gene, I agree with everything you're saying. Like I don't disagree with anything you're saying. But what I'm trying to say, and Gene, you correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm trying to say is that hard work and lower class work, wage work, is where you learn to not work harder. You learn how to do something better. You can then use that skill and the experience over those years of doing hard work and wage work to then be the next generation of business owners, the next generation of product developers, the next generation of the things that will make society better for people, right? That's where I'm coming from. Like I said, I get hard work is not for everyone. Not everyone wants to do hard work, and you should avoid hard work. I'm not against that, but you shouldn't be afraid of hard work either, right? This idea that everything's gonna be easy all the time, you're just gonna become a fucking podcaster or you're gonna become a streamer and you're gonna get up whenever you want and you can take showers whenever you want. You don't have to make a lunch. You don't have to pack it, a box. You don't have to drive some shit box car to work every day because it gets good gas mileage. Like this idea that there's somehow a choice, there's the easy way and then there's the hard way. I'm telling you, no. Most people have to go the hard way first. Then they can do the easy shit. And that hard thing can be 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, your entire life. But you have to go through it in order to get to the place that is you want to be, because you won't know what this is until you've gone through this. And that's all that I'm saying. Again, I agree with everything you're saying though. Wage workers are always going to work harder than non-wage workers because it's just the dynamic of the work. The way our tax system is set up, the tax system is set up for you to be a business owner. If you can write off your entire life and hardly pay any taxes while all your workers pay everything. They pay all the tax. They're going to pay for everything they do. They don't get write-offs for their cars. They don't get write-offs for their gas. They don't get write-offs for going on vacation. They don't get write-offs for going on dick. Okay? The small business owner, the large business owner, we get all that shit, right? The way the income is taxed versus profits, wage earners don't generally get to take advantage of those kind of things, right? Business owners get to take advantage of all that shit. Okay, so you have to go through the hard stuff in order to figure all this out and learn how to do things better. That's all I'm saying, Gene. So, but again, I agree with everything you're saying, dude. So great comment. Wages will always be victims in the end. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But what the other thing I'm saying, Gene, is that they're trying to make less and less wage earners in America. They want all you guys on UBI. They want you all in welfare, and they'll bring in cheaper labor, right? Or they'll outsource your job or automate your job via the third world, So if Trump had done what he had said, dude, like the wage workers in America would be making more money today. Plain and simple, because again, you don't have to compete with the third world coming into our country and taking up all the resources. And 10 million people in the last 4 years is not nothing, right? 20 million people in the last 10 years is not nothing. These are big numbers, guys. And again, there will be a lot more housing. Your resources would be used a lot less. And people always say, well, when you bring those people in here illegally, they pay into the system, right? They keep Medicare going, they keep Social Security going. Like, if that's your argument, like, you are fucking morally bankrupt, right? I hear people say this all the time, and they'll say, well, these people commit less crimes than Americans. Again, I actually agree with that. But again, if this is your argument, like, because they don't get to take advantage of all the things that they're paying taxes on and that they commit less crime, so let all these people in here illegally, like, if you're morally bankrupt, like, I'm gonna fuck you up, dude. Like, you're disgusting. I see that. This is the argument I see from a lot of these left-leaning type people, and it's like, that's ridiculous. Like, where do you get off saying that shit? So because they could all just stay? Like, what about our laws? What about the rule of law? What about avoiding the port of entry so that you can come into this country? Like, where's your morality there? Where's your fucking balls, man? Like, is this America? What if I did that to your home? What if I just said, you know what, let's just bring some people in here and I'm just gonna let them hang out in your house for a couple of weeks. Hell, let's let them hang out there for a couple of months. Are you just gonna be like, meh, they pay taxes in, as long as they're going to work every day, paying into the system, oh, they can stay in my home. Like, I don't care, not a big deal. Like, I call bullshit. It's only okay because we all have to deal with it. That's what it doesn't really affect you. When these people say these kind of things, these are luxury beliefs, guys. The people that advocate for this shit, that talk that way, they're not fucking dealing with this stuff. They're not living in Seattle with all the fucking homeless people shitting on the sidewalks and syringes all over the place. People say, oh, that's hyperbole. Like, no, motherfucker, I'm from there. That's exactly what's going on there. So don't believe these people. They're making our country worse, not better. And again, are these people good people? I think they're great people. Like, if you told me tomorrow you want to pass a bill saying all these people are going to have amnesty, if that's what you want to vote for, fine. If that is the rule of the land, I am for it. But right now, that is not the rule of the land. And all these cucks that are just letting these people come in here, and again, they're paid into the system. It's like, you people you're morally bankrupt, you know? So anyway, that's just kind of how I see it. All right, more comments coming here. Guys, I appreciate being here today. Hit the like button, add the discussion. And like I said, we're talking about wage earners. We can talk about illegals. We can talk about Trump. We can talk about everything that's been supposed to happen this last year that hasn't happened. We can talk about going over and going to the third world there in the Middle East. I don't know what the fuck we're doing over there, but apparently that's what we're going to do, because we're not going to focus on the Epstein files, right? We don't, even though Congress said December 19th, you have to release everything, nothing's been done. You don't hear any of our Congress people talking about that. All they're saying is, get over to the Middle East. Get over there and let's go kill a bunch of people in Iran, right? That's going to be awesome. Let's go do that. No, I I don't know. Okay, next comment. Let's see here. This is a Profog. Hard work doesn't mean just physical labor. Building a business, hard work. Yeah, well, and again, like I said, as a business owner, building a business is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's also the greatest thing I've ever done from like a fun standpoint. Like, yes, it's a lot of work and you're always turned on, but it's different than working a regular wage job. Like, again, I came in today at 11 o'clock, you know, because I mean, frankly, I was hanging out with my wife a little bit this morning, and I had to go get some tires for my vehicle, you know, so I just went to the local tire place and was talking shit with the owner there and talking about tires and finding tires and all this kind of stuff, and then decided, well, you know what, I want to go get some Burger King. So I went way across town and got myself some Burger King. You know, I wasn't in a hurry to come back to work because I got people here. You know, we got deliveries coming. I got a bunch of walnut came in today, but again, I got people here. They'll take care of it. I don't need to worry about it. You know, I'm not even answering questions for customers. I literally did fuck all this morning. I was playing the casino app on my phone most of the morning, if I'm being completely honest, but that's just today. Most days I get up in the morning, I'm working on drawings. I'm in SolidWorks doing engineering. I'm making labels for color samples. You know, when I get home at night, same thing. I'm on my computer. Or maybe I'm doing designs for bids, you know. But then when I'm at work, I'm making furniture, or I'm ordering shit, or I'm here talking to you guys. I'm trying to show people how to make furniture, how people can be business owners. Maybe whatever. I got freaking big, massive drawing plans here that I'm working for big, massive projects. Like, every day is different, right? Whereas when you're a wage worker, it's much more structured, right? You're not, you know, you're more of a master of one thing as opposed to a jack of all trades, which business owners have to be, you know? So yes, it is hard work. It's different work, right? Physically, it's not as demanding, right? I don't lift furniture all day anymore. I used to constantly lift furniture, you know, but now I got people to do that. I delegate more than anything anymore. And that's kind of nice, you know, I'm not going to lie, but there are plenty of days where I just want to go crush it. I don't want anybody in the shop. I want all 12,000 square feet to myself. I'm going to be lifting plywood. I'm going to be cutting shit. I'm going to be, you know, filleting hardwood in my resaw. I'm going to be building shit like I was 21 years old. And I do that too, you know. So a lot of different things you got to do as a business owner. Okay, let's see. This is Bibgo C8Z. C8Z. That makes me think of Chevrolet, the new Corvette. I'm a car guy. So bingo, if you're a car guy, let me know. I want to know. Okay, I'll talk cars with you for a second. So have you heard about the ice wall low P? No, I haven't. You're going to have to explain what that is. Have you heard about the ice wall low P? No, I haven't heard anything about the ice wall. So ice wall, the only ice wall I know is in Game of Thrones, and I didn't even watch that shit. I know we were supposed to build a wall here a while back. I think it was Trump's first term, and that got all messed up. So I don't know if that's got something to do with that. I mean, I don't know. So Gene says hard work isn't an attribute; it's a curse. It's something that we must figure our way out of. Well, you know what, Gene? I'm gonna have to 100% disagree with you on that. I think hard work is very important, you know, and you don't want to do it you don't want to do it all the time, but take like the military, Gene. So being in the military is very difficult. Like I tried to go to the military, they wouldn't have me because I couldn't duck walk, which really sucked. But I know a lot of people that are in the military, and these guys, a lot of them do kind of have a hard life. Like, there's no doubt about it. The structure of being in the military can be very taxing on your body. And as far as I'm concerned, these people, they bust their ass for 20 years. When they're done, they're done. You know, they got a regular old salary, call it UBI, call it whatever you want, but they don't have to work anymore. As far as I'm concerned, those guys have put themselves into a situation where they have made or agreed to make the ultimate sacrifice. Very important. Same thing with things like law enforcement, firefighters, these kind of people. This is real work, in my opinion. And without those people, our lives are worse off, significantly worse off. And so this idea that work is hard, I don't know if you understand how these people have to train, right? But to be a firefighter, there's a reason those guys have the, the very homo type calendars that they put out every year. It's because they're proud of the way they look, because of how hard they work, because their jobs are physically very difficult, right? And so the idea of hard work builds character, in my opinion. And when people say that it doesn't, like I've heard this for years, like, oh yeah, you don't want to work hard like your dad. It's like, bitch, I fucking have everything I want in life from working hard. I don't want to fucking hear you tell me that working hard is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. The thing is that most people never figure out how to not work hard. They work hard forever, and they work themselves into the dirt, right? We've seen it. I mean, I've seen it in many people in my life. It's sad. It's too bad. But that's life. That's how it is, right? You see the guy that's, 60 years old, still framing houses, right? His hands are all fucked up. He's got crazy arthritis, carpal tunnel. His knees are fucked up. Back doesn't feel good. His whole body's twisted. Like, yes, you don't want those people. It sucks that those guys have to do that kind of stuff. But again, hard work is necessary. And again, I think it builds character, and this idea that everyone can go through life being a knowledge worker is the most disgusting idea I've ever heard. I fucking hate people like that. This idea that everyone's gonna go to college and no one's gonna have to work hard anymore. The reason we don't work hard anymore, the reason that idea was allowed to proliferate is because for the last 30 years, you guys let all the work go over to China, right? And now there's nothing left for you guys to do. You come out of college thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be so smart. I'm going to be a knowledge worker. I'm going to take on the world. I'm going to be the emperor of America. I'm so smart. And guess what? You can't make enough money to pay back the stupid fucking loans that you got. You can't make any real money, because truth is that you probably should have worked a little harder, So Gene, I vehemently disagree with what you're saying, but I appreciate your honesty and going back and forth with me. I see it way differently because probably of how I grew up, how I went through life, and ultimately where I'm at, right? I can see it from both sides because I've been at both sides. So, but yeah, great comment, dude. Okay, Profoc, Gene, I don't agree with your definition of hard work. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm kind of the same, dude. And to Gene's point, there's a lot of hard knowledge work, man. I'll tell you guys, being a business owner is stressful, okay? And here's something that most wages, right, wage workers don't have to think about. What they don't have to think about is the months when sales are really slow. The months where you have $50,000 in your bank account and you got $40,000 in payroll, right? You got a $10,000 mortgage payment. You got your own house payments to make. You got your own bills that you got to pay, right? Do I pay my employees? Do I pay myself? Do I pay the landlord? Do I pay the vendors to bring in the product that I need to make the next round of shit? A lot of people don't have to think about that kind of stuff. And plus, when you leave to go home, generally, you go from working on your job to focusing on your fucking home problems, right? Which is really nice. The problem with being a business owner is that the problems never go away, right? So, again, I'm here playing casino games on my phone this morning, but that's because the bills are paid, right? We're going to be able to make payroll. We don't have any issues. Like, money's pretty good right now, but it doesn't always work that way. And it's always in the back of your mind. Do I have enough money to make payroll next week? Right? Every other week, got to make sure you got enough money in that bank account. And this idea that small business owners stack cash and we're just constantly, every year we make more money and we make more money. It doesn't work that way. Business is fucking hard, guys. Like, it's not as simple as just starting a business and suddenly you've got it all figured out. Like, once you start the business, that's just one battle. Then you got to keep it going. You guys know that most businesses fail inside the first year, right? And almost like 80% of businesses fail within the first 5. Very difficult, and it's not for everybody. It takes a special kind of person to want to put yourself through that shit every day of the week, 24 hours a day, 375 days a week, because it never gets turned off, man. Like, when your employees have problems, guess what? They come to you. Like, they can't go to the other employees. Other employees don't have any fucking money, right? They got their own problems to deal with. You are the person that solves problems, whether it's for your business, whether it's for your employees, whether it's for people in your family, whether it's people around you. Like, that's all you do is take problems and solve them constantly. And because that's your job, everyone comes to you for it. So some of the people don't think about when you're a business owner or you're doing that knowledge work, it can be taxing. Okay, people like working hard to build great things. Yeah, and that's cool. And again, some people say, well, that's just what we tell people because we need them to make our shit. It's like there's honor in hard work, and there's a little bit of fallacy to that. But I'm here to tell you guys that, like, I like working hard. I'll tell you guys, I've told the story many times, but when I was building this cobblestone walkway, I used to own this house called the Fraser House in El Dorado, Kansas. You guys can Google it. It's a famous house. It had an old concrete walkway about, I would say it was probably 60 feet, if I remember correctly, from the house to the street. and I replaced it all with cobblestone. And I spent an entire summer, beating out that concrete with a sledgehammer, pulling it all up, wheelbarrows, making big piles of shit on the other side of the south lawn, or I guess, what is the south lawn? I just made this big pile of concrete and old dirt and old rock and all this kind of stuff. And I put in a brand new cobblestone walkway, 60 feet by 5 feet wide. And every year that I lived there, somebody would come up. I mean, multiple people would come up. They just say, wow, that's really nice. Or, oh, my grandma used to see this house because it's an old turn of the century painted lady Queen Anne home. It was made in like 1887, I think. And people would they'd come up and say, I saw you working on it over the summer. This turned out really nice. Like, oh, how did you do that? What made you decide to do that? And that hard work, the affirmation of what you did never goes away, right? Now, had I paid someone to do that, right? Oh yeah, a lot of like wealthy people and white collar people will say that kind of stuff. They're like, oh yeah, I had this done, or oh I had that kitchen done, or I did that kitchen, or they'll say truth is they didn't do shit. They didn't do a fucking thing. They paid someone. They paid some other man to come work on their house, And I'm kind of a dick about this kind of stuff. I got kind of a rule, It's like no man's working on my fucking house. I don't care how rich I get. It ain't happening. Not happening. Not letting some guy come in and fix something. I got to go in there every day. Oh, look at this kitchen that some other guy made for my wife. Like, ain't fucking happening. So there's a lot of pride and appreciation that comes from working hard. People recognize hard work. People recognize great things, right? And a lot of those great things take hard work. But if you buy it as opposed to building it, it's something. And some people don't give a shit. I do. So anyway, Profoc, I kind of agree with what you're saying there. It's not a curse. Gene says, if you support hard work, you're being a sucker in life. Yeah, that's cool. I get Gene. Like, we need people like yourself, who figured it out. Like, why don't you teach some other people how to do that? That'd be cool. That would be all that I ask. Like, if Gene's got the way, man, show other people. Man, you're doing your part. You're doing this. We're all equals in that case. But yeah, some people think that working is for suckers and working doesn't pay, or excuse me, hard work doesn't pay. I mean, I've heard it all at this point, and Gene's kind of right in a way. Hard work doesn't pay as well as thinking work, for sure. But I think there's a lot more pride in working hard. I've always felt that way, and again, I've had it both ways. So yeah. Let's see here. Jesus, TD Vance found out how to make a lot of money quick. Oh, you mean JD Vance? Yeah, JD Vance is I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Manchurian Candidate. JD Vance is the Manchurian Candidate. If you watch that movie, basically you have this guy, he's in the Marines, and something happens to him in the Marines, and then suddenly when he comes out of the Marines, he's a candidate for government, right? He becomes the vice president of the United States of America, and basically he's been mind controlled, right? There's like a psyop where they're telling him what to do psychologically, and he does it. That's J.D. Vance, in my opinion. Guy's in the Marines, writes that great book, Hillbilly Elegy, gets into Congress, doesn't spend a lot of time in Congress, suddenly he's vice president. And for what? Like, what is this guy's great accomplishment? What, he sucked Peter Thiel's dick? Like, it's too convenient that, he gets out of the military and then I think was it like at Yale, and then Peter Thiel comes in and he's like, and then suddenly he's vice president. And now everyone's talking about cryptocurrency. And now we're talking about, basically we're bringing in all the robots and the machines and bringing in UBI. Like, you can't tell me that's a coincidence. Like, I don't buy it. Like, that's JD Vance is the Manchurian Candidate. I've always seen it that way. Okay. So did Vivek Ramaswamy, and now they're in power. Yeah, Vivek Ramaswamy's an interesting dude. My wife's actually Indian. Vivek Ramaswamy, like, he seems like the same kind of thing. Like, it doesn't sound like he knows anything about medicine or bioengineering or anything like that. And yeah, he basically got rich off some drugs that I don't know. I don't think he developed them. Like, somehow he got the patents for him, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know a ton about that situation, but it doesn't sound to me like he made his money the old-fashioned way. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, that guy. The thing, it's hard to diss Indians too much, like I said, because I married one. But if you look at who makes the most money in America, it's Indian people, right? And Indian people generally don't start businesses. They're generally amazing managers. They're great doctors. They're great thinkers, right? They're not good at coming up with shit, So did Vivek do that? I doubt it, But whatever, it is what it is. We'll see if he becomes governor of Ohio. It doesn't sound like he's going to, but we'll see what happens. So one thing that guy did say that I didn't like is he basically had this idea, Vivek Ramaswamy, he had this idea that we need to spend less time thinking about movie stars and entertainers and sports and spend more time in school. And I think that is death. You know, I think that one of the things that makes America the fuck you country that it is because we appreciate things like football and baseball, and we appreciate really hard work. Like we love the idea of somebody coming from nothing and then becoming super wealthy. We love that idea, which is why when you come to America, we invent everything here. And again, we're a nation of immigrants, right? It's not like just white people are coming over there. But white people do have a profound ability to create things for whatever reason. That's like literally white people's superpower, is that we come up with all the shit, right? The Indians then come in and they manage it all, which is crazy. Like you look at all the big companies, they all have Indian CEOs. They all have Indian CFOs. These guys are wildly good thinkers, and they'll probably be the next generation of people that develop technologies and products and things like that. I'm sure of it. But yeah, kind of interesting. I don't know why the Vivek came up with anything, but whatever. Okay, let's see. Pro Fox says most people would disagree with you. People get great satisfaction out of a hard work, working hard in the gym, working hard in school, working hard at building something. Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel. Like I think Pro Fox, you and me are kind of the same, cut from the same cloth. Like I think that you have to work hard to learn something, and then you can then take that thing and you can then be the person that teaches it to somebody else. You can be the person that starts their own business, right, where you learned your skills, and you can compete with that company. This is good for everybody. This is good for the economy when you have lots of people coming up with lots of businesses, lots of people that come up with a lot of the same businesses. This means that I have to compete with other furniture makers in my area, right? I have to compete with other people that high gloss lacquer furniture the way that I do. Whereas if I am the only person that high gloss lacquers furniture and the only place that we can do it is in the third world, well, guess what? There's no competition here. And again, as a person that can only do it in the third world, brings all that money back to America, I can then pay off politicians to make even more EPA regulations, more OSHA regulations, so the people that would want to start businesses, it's harder for them. Like, you guys see how this works? Remember, I'm putting on a t-shirt, guys, the delta between the $2.50 an hour you pay the Chinese worker and the $32.50 an hour you really need to be paying an American worker. This is the delta that large corporations use to keep you poor, right? To keep you from being able to start your own businesses, to keep from having to hire you and pay you the real wages that you probably deserve. That's that delta, right? So you guys need to understand this. It's a big deal, So the idea that tariffs make everything more expensive, they always tell you guys this. It's true. They will make things more expensive. In the short term, it will actually hurt. But if you told Nike, you know what, Nike? You can't make shoes over there anymore. Nike's going to go, oh, my business model doesn't work. I don't know how I'm going to make money anymore. It's like, okay, well, you've gone out of business. Well, they'll say, oh, 100,000 people are going to go out of work. Well, yeah, how many of those are Americans? What, 3,000? Like, give me a fucking break. All your labor is in the third world. Like, you're not, yeah, those people are here. Guess what? Maybe they'll start their own businesses since you fucked them over, and they'll make their own shoes, right? Maybe they'll figure out how to make it here. The guy that's designing all the technology that gets used in China by the Chinese, right? Maybe he'll design something here in America because he can't bring that cheap shit over here anymore. Like, that's how it works. And then guess what? He has to pay American workers. If Nike wants to make shoes in America, after you tariff their shit 400%, maybe they will bring those machines over to America, right? The thing about it is, guys, is Nike gets a tax break on all the machinery that they buy and use in China, whether it's in China or in America, right? So it would be nice if they no longer got their tax breaks because their labor, their machineries, their technology, their science, their R&D, all that shit is in China. It'd be nice if they would do it here. So you guys see how this works. Like, you have to cut these people off if you want to make money here in America. It's the only way. Will things get more expensive? Yeah, right? Will you be able to buy 50 t-shirts a year? Probably not. Will you be able to buy, grapes year round? Will you be able to buy strawberries year round? Like, what do you want, right? Do you want everyone in America to make a little bit more money? And, or do you want to be able to get strawberries year round? Like, what do you want? You can't have it all, So, all right, keep on going. Let's go back to Gene. Gene says, wages are suckers. I know I'm a sucker. Okay, well, again, Gene, if you've got it figured out, dude, go teach other people. The best thing you can do. I think, our job as people who figured it out, right, and I feel like I have figured it out at this point. My wife still calls me wagey. She says I have wagey mentality. We got to teach other people that there are other options, and maybe we get a hybrid of people that have businesses they're working on, but they also make a salary, right? They make a regular wage, an hourly wage, whatever. Maybe that's what I don't know, but it's just important to put that knowledge out there for people. So, Okay, who's this? I don't know how to say your name. LB Ilota? Belota? El Belota? Something? Anyway, glad you're here. Thanks for coming in, guys. Hit the like button, add to the discussion. We'll keep running through comments. I appreciate everyone adding. This is good to get the back and forth with people. Okay, good gosh, yes, I agree with corporate greed and outsourcing being a problem, but looking at how people from countries affected victimize them instead of the corporate billionaires. Read your question one more time. I agree with corporations and outsourcing being a problem, but locking out the people from the countries affected and victimizing them instead of the corporate billionaires. So are you trying to say that we shouldn't lock out the third world, that we should just take the money that the billionaires make and the corporations make? Is that kind of what you're saying? Because you can't have it both ways. Like, this is America. You can't just take people's money. Like, that's they call that communism. They call that socialism. We're getting ready to try a version of that. We're getting towards it, right? I've talked about this many times. There's a reason that New York, the financial capital of the world, elected Zara Mandami, right? People are getting tired of not making enough money to live where they live. So yeah, so we're getting go down. But I don't know quite. You have to cut off the third world. Like here's the thing. Here's the thing you guys feel you probably need to understand. The reason, and if you guys remember this, pay attention to this. This is wild, okay? Remember when Trump started those tariffs on April 1st last year? Apple was immediately saying, oh, we're getting out of China. It's too expensive now with tariffs. We're going to move to India, okay? How is it that a massive company like Apple can afford to move their manufacturing operations from one country to another country, but they can't afford to move it back to the country that made what they do possible? Like, how does that work? Like, that should, and they're not the only company that said this. A lot of companies said this kind of stuff. And again, nobody picked up on that, but it was just like, wait a minute, like, you guys make so much money by outsourcing that you can move entire operations from one country to another. That means that that country really isn't important. It's the fact that you don't have to pay people here in America. You don't have to pay our benefits. You don't have to do our OSHA regulations here. You don't have to do our EPA regulations. You don't have to deal with our transportation regulations. You don't have to deal with our tort regulations here. You just do it all in the third world, and it doesn't really matter which country, just so long as it's not here, okay? At that point, you need to tell American businesses that they need to leave, right? And you'll say, oh, we're not going to get the money. Trust me, they're not going anywhere, guys. There's no other place that these businesses are going to go. Because here's the thing. If you said to Apple, you know what? Well, Apple, you can't be here if 90% of your operations are in China, right? You can't call yourself an American company. You got to go, right? They're going to say, okay, well, we'll leave, right? Fine. We're going to base our business out of Portugal, right? But we're still going to do our operations in China or whatever. Then you say, well, no, we have a 400% tariff on China, right? So then it goes from Apple's product being, if they stay as an American company, their phone coming here, you know, whatever it probably costs them, say it costs them $250 to manufacture that phone, they're then paying a 400% tariff on that $250 product, right, which they then mark up in America, which is the second part of it. They're going to take that and then they're going to pay 400%. That means it's a $1,000 phone, whether they're in America or they're in Portugal. Now, if we kick them out and we say, you know what, you're not going to be able to operate here in America, the minute we kick them out, then they want to sell into America their product. Well, they've got a 400% tariff coming in over there, right, on the sold product here, right? So they want to sell that phone here for $1,500. They're paying 400% on $1,500. That means that phone is immediately going to cost $6,000. Okay, so you can operate in America, and you can pay your American workers, and you can have a successful business, whatever that means in America, and you can sell your product anywhere in the world you want. Okay, but you can't skip hiring Americans, make everything overseas, take the delta, the $250 you're paying the China worker, the $32.50 you're paying the American worker, and use all that money to give it to rich people who already own stock in your company, to give it all your C-suite executives, to just spend it on engineering, on research and development, on branding, on advertising, on data analysts, on salespeople, anybody but a manufacturer, right? Which is where most people start in life, okay? You can't have it. We can't do that. Until we fix that, this problem will not get fixed of people making reasonable wages here in America with limited experience. You know, again, my dad was a welder his entire life, never had a problem making money. Not at all. He could literally, just one salary took care of everything. Like, I never had problems making money because I worked with my hands. I made furniture for jets. These are all American-made products. I worked for American companies my entire life, making American products. Always made great wages. Bought my first home when I was 21 years old. I've always owned BMWs and Mercedes and Volkswagens and Audis. I've had all the nice cars, okay? As a dumb guy, never graduated high school. We need that for more people because we need to have more American businesses that make American products. That's the key. Americans making American products. Okay, I'll be a broken record on this. People don't have to agree with me, but like this is how I see it because this has been my lived experience. Okay, Gene says, see, that's why side gigs are so important. Yeah, and side gigs are important. And people like to talk shit on those. It used to be everyone talked side hustle, and then it was like you were supposed to talk shit on side hustle, like side hustle's a joke. And side hustle's not a joke. But where people mess up is you get people that'll have a regular job. They'll, like say your job is, I don't know, I like to make fun of the data analyst, right? Your job is to be a data analyst. You do that 8 hours a day, right? 40 hours a week. But then you come home and you want to make t-shirts, right? There's nothing about those jobs that go together, right? Whereas if you would go work for a t-shirt manufacturer 40 hours a week, and then you would do t-shirts when you get home 8, 9 hours a day or whatever, I guess it's around 40 hours a week, and then you come and do 20 hours a week, try to make your own business doing the same thing, you're spending all of your time learning your craft. You're getting better at your craft, learning the business, figuring out the vendors, figuring out the best way to design t-shirts, where to buy t-shirts. You learn all this kind of stuff because you're doing it 40 hours a week. You can then take that into your separate, your side hustle, and then you can see if you can do something better. Maybe you got a different product, a different niche, a different idea, whatever. You can become different, then you can be a full-time business. But it takes a long time to do that because this is how Elon Musk says to do it. And as far as I'm concerned, Elon Musk is the smartest guy that has existed for the last probably 100 years, since maybe Henry Ford. Like the guy is just wildly intelligent. Not that he can't do any wrong. I know people always like to say all that shit, but that's just kind of how I see it. Okay, Gene says, but of course, that's not the full answer. If I knew the full answer, I wouldn't be a sucker. Okay, Gene. Fair enough. And again, don't call yourself a loser, dude. Like I said, just everybody, I always tell people that like it's really important to work regular jobs, to be a wage earner. I tell a lot of people that there's no opportunity at home, right? This idea that I'm going to work from home, I'm going to collect a salary at home, blah, blah, blah. Like there's no opportunity at home, guys. All the opportunity that exists in the world is out working for somebody, even driving to work. When you stop and get coffee, when you stop and you go out to lunch, interacting with the world, that's where all the opportunity is. There is almost no opportunity here, guys. There just really isn't. This idea that you're going to get rich and famous, be it on YouTube or on X or anything, like it can happen. I won't tell you it won't, but it's very difficult. You got a lot more opportunity, a lot more chance of being successful working for somebody else, learning how things are done, and then going out and doing it for yourself. Okay, let's see, more Gene, okay, you guys are just kind of going back and forth. That's cool, good for you. You get to retire. Good deal, Gene. I'm glad you get to retire, man. That's cool. Let's see here. This is Magnus Kane. Fucking people question. I don't know what you're saying, Magnus. You're going to have to elaborate. Let's see. In my opinion, man admitting he supported ICE unconstitutional bullshit. Man admitting he supported. So you're saying, are you saying that we shouldn't support ICE? Like ICE is not that's immigration and customs enforcement. I tell a story all the time. Like I tried to immigrate to New Zealand when I was in my 30s, and they wouldn't take me. And again, I'm high income white guy, completely healthy, no, debts of any kind, I don't need their social security system, their healthcare. I don't need anything that New Zealand had. I just wanted to live there because it's beautiful. And I was already doing cabinetry work there in their aviation industry, but because the job that I was coming in the country to do was not something that was on their required list of people that they needed, industries that they're working on, they wouldn't take me. So, and of course, you can always buy your way, but I'm not that wealthy. But that's the way it should be in America. Like, if we don't need what you do here, you can't come in here. And if you do, guess what? ICE is going to find you and drag your fucking ass out of here. Plain and simple. And to all these bleeding heart people that think that that's unacceptable, well, 75 million people in America voted for these people to be drug out of every fucking business in America. Every home, every school. Get the fuck out. Because we have the rule of law. Now, if you want to agree to amnesty all these people and everyone votes on it and that's what we decide to do, great. Then everyone gets to stay. But until that happens, if you don't agree to the rule of law, you're the fucking problem. Plain and simple. And again, are the wrong people going to get kicked out from time to time? Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Are people going to die when ICE is trying to go in and enforce the rule of law? Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Okay? If 10 million people came in the last 4 years, 20 million people in the last 10 years, if 1,000 people died during the next 4 years, we're trying to kick 1 million people a year out, then I'm okay with that. And I think most people are too, because we all understand that life isn't all peaches and cream. It's not easy. And trying to get people out is much harder than letting them in. It's like you people love how easy it is to let people in. You look the other way. When the cost of everything goes up because these people need all of our shit that we have here, you guys don't worry about that. But again, when someone comes in and says, well, you know what, I'm going to kick these people out, is suddenly you people got something to say. And we call that being a hypocrite, right? We call that kind of not being very American. America's built around the rule of law. That's it. If we have the rule of law, we have nothing. That becomes anarchy. And so, yeah, this idea that ICE is like, I hope they get more ICE people. I hope they're coming into, and the truth is, like, this whole discussion, it's all a smokescreen for not having to release the Epstein files. That's literally all this shit is. Like, you could pass E-Verify tomorrow. You could simply just raid the businesses. That's all you got to do. I mean, we all know where the illegal immigrants are. They're in construction. They're in restaurants. They are in the hotels, right? And they are, oh God, there was one more. The agriculture. That's it. Why would you go anywhere else? You don't have to go to people's homes. You don't have to go into little cities. I mean, go to the meat packing plants. That's all you got to do, guys. And again, everyone, I mean, they don't say it, but they're all okay with seeing Mexicans on the roofs. Like, if you said, you know, well, why did you go be a roofer? They go, oh, no, that works for wetbacks. They have all these horrible things to say about these people, you know, because they think that it somehow makes their life better. It's wildly selfish, wildly selfish. So yeah, I don't support that one bit. Let's see, is this guy complaining a capitalist system incentivizes capitalists? There's nothing wrong with capitalism. The problem is with capitalism run amok, right? And especially if you have a whole bunch of people who've been told that capitalism is everything, it's the best thing that's ever existed, and yet they can't make their way in life because capitalists are bringing in the third world, or they're outsourcing all the work to the third world, and they're telling you got to go on UBI and welfare because you can't make enough money to afford rent, or you can't make enough money to afford, you know, a night out every now and again, or to go on vacation every now and again. You can't afford jack shit. You're just supposed to save your money forever, live like a pauper, buy gold, you know, buy crypto. Like, that's no way to live. I mean, of course these guys are going to vote for socialism or communism or something else. So why wouldn't they? You know, they're again, history's told us these things are really bad. Well, again, you can't tell them how great capitalism, and they've never seen it, and then tell them socialism's awesome. They've never seen socialism. Like, what do you do? You know, like, I don't blame these people one bit. I don't agree with it, but I don't blame the way that they're thinking. So, okay, this is Pony Tart. Who gets that? I don't know what you're saying there. You are SpongeBob. You did pay shit in tax, you idiot. You did pay. I guess you probably said you didn't pay shit in taxes. And yeah, truth is, I do pay a ton in taxes. Like, we pay gobs of money in taxes. Like, every time I do payroll, you know, I got to pay 7.58% in payroll taxes no matter what, just because I'm an employee, right? It's not that I get any benefit from that. I just literally have to pay into the system for something. Even though I create the jobs that allow people to pay taxes into the system, somehow I got to pay a tax for being the job creator. That makes no sense, you know. But I pay income taxes just like everybody else. I just get to pay lower income taxes when I collect profit, right? When I take a distribution, because that's something that corporations are allowed to do when they're considered S corps. You know, so again, the tax code, I don't agree with it. Change the laws. You don't want business owners to be incentivized to start businesses? Change the tax code. But enforce the rules as they are, not as you want them to be. And don't look the other way because you don't like a rule, or a rule is better for you if you just look the other way. Like, you're being a bitch if you do that. And that's one of the reasons our country is where it is today. There's no accountability. Nobody wants to follow the rules. You know, and I bring up that Alejandro Mayorkas guy, the guy that was like DHS, the head of the DHS, I think, during Biden. It's like every year that guy came up and said the border's secure. Like, where's Congress? You know, where are the people that, you know, put people in jail, that file charges? Where are those people trying to hold these people accountable for lying to Congress every year? You know, and when they say, oh, well, semantically, the border was secure. You know, like, what do you mean semantically? Like, everyone agrees that there's tons of illegal people here. What the fuck are we doing? Like, it wasn't secure? Obviously it wasn't. You clearly lied. But you lied using loosey-goosey verbiage. Like, again, no accountability. And until we have accountability in this country, nothing's going to change, guys. Like, they're going to outsource all your jobs. You're going to make shit wages. You're going to pay a ton in taxes. And it's bullshit. It shouldn't be this way. You know, and that's what I talk about on this channel. I get no bullshit, guys. Like, I get, And I have a real business. I'm not like some guy trying to sell you a course on how to get rich. I don't fucking do any of that. I just go back and forth with you guys about what's really going on in America as a normie guy, never graduated high school, figured it out. That's it. That's it. And I'm not even successful. I'm just saying I don't have to go to work for somebody else. That's success for me. I get to work for myself. That's it. That's successful. All right, who's this? Magus Kane back in here. You are misinformed on immigration. Okay, well, tell me why I'm misinformed, okay? I'd love to know. And again, what's your solution? You know, again, everybody can identify a problem. Not many people have a solution. Like as like, if I'm the boss, right? If you come to me and want to tell me a problem, like, I don't know how many times, like, I don't even want to fucking hear your problems. Like, oh, we got a problem. I don't like this. We need to fix it. This is broken. This is, okay, what are we going to do to fix it? What's your fucking solution? Everyone's so good at finding problems. They're terrible at coming up with solutions. And a lot of times the solutions that people have involve somebody else doing it. Somebody else's money, somebody else's resources, whether that's time, money, whatever. It's never theirs. It's never those people. It's always somebody else has to fix it. So, okay, you are wrong. Okay, well, good. Tell me. Elaborate, dude. Come on. It's a back and forth. You got to put your solution out there for people to go back and forth. You can't just say something's wrong. Like, that's ridiculous. Okay, let's see. You not know what you're talking about. Okay, great. What don't I know that I'm talking about? Let's go. Okay, Gene says, let's see here. There has to be something better than capitalism. Socialism sucks too. So I'm saying that, but perhaps there are less need for humans due to technology. Yeah, and again, like, if you want to go down that road, like, Gene, what you're talking about is you're talking about the technocracy, right? Or what comes after the technocracy is this post-human thing they call, my goodness, I'm drawing a blank as to what it's called. But basically, we're all going to be robots. Like, we're all going to be automatons, and we're all going to we won't have these regular, we won't have regular human bodies anymore. We'll basically be pumped into machines, or we'll be pumped into the internet, or we'll be pumped into something other than an organic body. You know, if that's what's coming, like just, I'm done. Like, again, some people might like that, you know, and maybe that'll be better, but I don't think it'll be better. It's like I'm old school, man. Like, even the idea of electric cars, like, I think electric cars are fucking retarded. I think electric cars make men gay, you know, like, I really do. Like, I think this whole just creating everything in a machine, in a computer, in virtual reality, like, I think this makes people not want to have kids. I think it makes people it makes society not what it used to be. It'll become something else, you know, which, great. If that's what happens, so be it. I won't participate. Like, I'm going to continue to do what I do. I actually own an electric car, but I don't think they're good. You know, my wife loves them. She's a chick. Of course she's going to like that shit. Men don't like those kind of things, you know. Men want to make shit. Men want to do hard things. Men like big engines. Men like things to be loud. Men like to go kill. Men like to go, you know, shoot guns and hunt. And, you know, it's very different type of society. But again, if you let all these little boys and, you know, these techno bros have their way, I mean, we're all going to be eating bugs and living in the pod, right? As they say. I don't know what comes after capitalism and socialism, dude. Like, I got no idea. I think UBI is next. That's what I think. We had a version of that going on in COVID, and I think if people are looking honestly at COVID was probably the worst 4 years in my entire life. The idea of everyone staying home, it made society worse. The idea of the government just printing money to give out made everything worse. And people might not see it that way, you know, whatever. I think that you have to have things hard in life. You should have made everyone go to work. Everyone should have had to go to work, and we would have got rid of this thing. It would have went away a hell of a lot sooner, and life would be back to normal. But it's never going to go back when you print $11 trillion. Like, it'll take 50 years to correct what's been done from the monetary system. Like, it's going to be really difficult. So, okay, let's see. MR1 Boston. We Jews fill up our shopping carts. People who work don't. I don't know what you mean by there. We Jews fill up our shopping cart. Does that mean that you're spending the money? Like, you have all the money? I don't quite know what you're talking about there. But you feel free to elaborate. Let's see here. We have ultra rich. No, we already have that. Like, the chasm between the haves and the have-nots is only getting bigger, guys. And that's why I tell you guys, if you want to start a business, cater to the 1%. Like I said, I always worked on private jets. These are for the 1%. I sell luxury furniture now. I make luxury handmade stuff in America, which wealthy people love that shit. And there's so many of them. There's only going to be more of them. So why not sell to them and get out of the lower class and get into the middle class? Like, at least the middle class isn't so bad. I mean, I don't think it's so bad. You know, I haven't looked at the price of groceries in, you know, years, you know, which, again, that's success for me. Like, I'll take it. I can have my Starbucks every morning. You know, my car's got good tires. Like, I'm golden, man. That's all I need. You know, I got a business. I get to make shit all the time. I love it. I make furniture anytime I want. It's wonderful. Wealthy people also collect welfare food. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that's 100%. We got to fix that, right? Like, Walmart's the greatest recipient of welfare that's ever existed in America. You know, Pepsi, Coca-Cola. These are all, not only do they collect welfare, they get massive tax breaks. Again, you got to end that shit. You got to fix the tax code. Large corporations like that can't double dip, and that's exactly what they're doing. It's like they're taking from the food stamps that we give all the poor people, right? And then they go buy Coca-Cola, right? They go buy great value shit at Walmart, and then we pay for that as well, you know, and they collect all the profits, pay to their dividend holder, or pay to their shareholders through dividends, right? Walton family is one of the wealthiest families that's ever existed in America. Like, it's disgusting. You know, again, change the tax code. We have to follow the rules. These are the rules. When people say that, you know, large corporations, they're liars, they're crooks, they don't follow the rules. Like, no, they follow the rules exactly as they're written. And I tell you guys, the Delta, when you allow everything to be made in the third world, you allow everything to be brought in from the third world, all the rules are written by the people that have the money. The people that have the Delta, the $2.50 an hour China, the $32.50 an hour you'd have to pay an American worker, they get to keep that money. Instead of you getting some of that money, they get it, and they're using it to make your life harder, to increase tax benefits for them, you know, and until we fix that, we're fucked. You know, again, can't let the third world in here. You can't outsource everything to the third world. Everything has to be done here in America for the most part. You want to bring in materials from the third world? Great. Got no problems with that. You want to bring in a reasonable amount of people from the third world? Again, got no problems with that. But if you come into this country by way anything other than a port of entry, you become a felon. And then ICE is going to come drag you out of your fucking home. They're going to take all your fucking kids, and they're going to put you all on a plane, and you're going to get the fuck out of here. Because that sends a message to all your buddies back home that, guess what? America is fucking closed to you. It's fucking closed to you. This is for Americans. You want to be an American? Apply. Everybody wants to be an American. And we all want you. I want as many people as we can let in this country. 100%. But you got to follow the rules, guys. You got to follow the rules. So, and people got to wake up to what's really going on. It's not that the people that come in illegally are bad. They just want a better life for themselves. You know, it's that we don't apply the rules. I mean, they tell you, oh, we can't close down the border. Oh, illegals aren't coming in. 20 million of them came in the last 10 years, right? Trump comes in, closes the border down like that. Just like that, right? It's done. It's over. There's no more people coming in yet. Again, where are the charges on all the people that said the border was closed? All the people that said that immigration is good. Where are the charges? Where is the accountability? Where's the treason? Until you get a treason charge in America, these guys will continue to do anything. Nobody during the Great Financial Crisis went to jail for nothing. COVID, nobody went to jail for nothing, right? Anyone in government never goes to jail, which is why they're allowed to continue to do everything that they want to do because there's no consequences. You know, when a company pays off a politician does something that's fucked up that hurts Americans, again, there's no accountability for it. So the business is going to continue to do what they're going to do. The politicians are going to continue to do what they're going to do, and you're going to take it up the ass. Plain and simple. So, all right, we're going to do, let's see, I'm going to do another 3.5 minutes, guys, and then I got to get back to making furniture. I got to make a walnut vanity. I'm going to make 2 walnut vanities. We paint a lot of furniture. We don't do as much stain grade furniture, but we got to do that, you know, so that's kind of on my list for today. Okay, lies, all of it. Okay, cool. Affordability, yeah, affordability is tough, man. Bye, Felicia. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Do we don't have the answers? But yeah, being a wagey is just slow death and hard. I don't think it's a slow death. Man, my dad was a wagey. My dad was a wagey, and he smoked his entire life. He's in his mid-70s. Now he makes furniture in his spare time. He's building cars. He just finished like a 44 Ford. You know, like, trust me. These people, some people, their bodies break down. Other people, their bodies don't break down. Like, everyone's different, man. So this idea that hard work just breaks you down forever, I don't believe that. But I will say that if you have a hard job, if you're in the construction industry, you're framing houses till you're 60, you need to be able to retire. You know, again, the guy that's an accountant that retires when he's 65, I'm sorry, you don't deserve the kind of money that everyone else, because guess what? You didn't work as hard. You know, and we can all disagree with that, but it all starts, the floor that we start at is the military, right? So the military, I consider to be the hardest job in the world, the most sacrifice there is, because you're literally willing to lay your life on the line. You're willing to go over to the third world. You're willing to go over, do whatever we got to do, snatch people out of Venezuelan country. You're willing to do all kinds of nasty shit. Those people deserve a nice retirement. As far as I'm concerned, they made the ultimate sacrifice, whether they went and fought in a war or not. They did it. Most people will never do it. Most people will never have the stones to do it. And again, the people that say that wage work is bullshit, you're talking about the military, okay? Which means that you're wrong. You know, if you're an accountant, if you're one of these knowledge workers, again, you don't deserve the same kind of retirement from the people as the people that basically put it all on the line for your country. You know, so bear that kind of stuff. Same thing with police officers, firefighters, all these people. What they do, you got to take care of those people no matter what. You know, so kind of leave it at that. Okay, let's see. Who owns 20% of each other's? Who owns 20%? I don't know what the hell that means, man. Let's see. Asking questions, anti-Semitic. Oh my God, here we go. Here we got everything's anti-Semitic. Haven't you guys figured that out? You can talk shit on any group of people you want except those people, right? Reference TikTok, right? Now you can't say what's the word, Zionist, like wild place. Like X used to be the same way when it was Twitter before. They used to censor all kinds of stuff, you know, and it's not good. I mean, Elon Musk buying X probably changed the trajectory of the entire world. Allowing free speech again changed everything. You know, we would be living in almost like a dystopian nightmare right now if Elon Musk had not bought X. I genuinely believe that was one of the biggest changes that ever happened in my lifetime. I don't know if people buy that, but this TikTok thing is getting ready to go down the same path as old Twitter. You know, you're all going to say certain kinds of things. And again, you can talk shit on white people all you want. You can talk shit on black people all you want, but you can't talk shit on certain kinds of people, which is almost all you need to know. Again, I don't like that. I don't like censorship. Never liked censorship. People need to be able to say things. People need to have open discussions that are very uncomfortable. You protect the worst speech, not the best speech. Okay, Nick will be Nick, but yeah, he's kind of, yep. Okay, would it be socialism if we had incentives for corporations to choose options to hire more people? Would it be socialism to have incentives for corporations to choose options that hire more people? And why is it okay to rig capitalism for every other group except the average American? Well, because the system is set up for the people that create jobs, right? Not necessarily American jobs, but the tax system, everything about America is set up for the people that either buy real estate or create jobs. Every incentive, right? I have a tax incentive to grow my business and to hire people, right? The more people that I hire, the more, which means the more money that I make, right? The more money that I make, the more money I get to keep, right? The wage that I pay myself, $50,000 a year, is taxed at, you know, whatever, 21%. The capital gains that I take at the end of the year, or what we know as distributions, are like, only like 17.5%, right? Why is that, right? Because that 4.5% is my incentive to continue to do what it is that I do, to create ideas and things that are basically to create services and products that people want, need, or desire, and then give people jobs to make that happen. That's my incentive as a business owner, that 4.5%, whether I do it here in America or I do it over in the third world. You guys have to understand this kind of stuff. It's the same thing with real estate. When you buy real estate, there are provisions in the tax code that allow you to write off a lot of that home so that you can provide homes for other people. Like it's I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing, but we could probably do better. The thing that you got to get rid of if you want to have more people is you got to cut off the incentive to use the third world. And again, when the average American thinks that their life is better because they can buy a $7.50 t-shirt instead of paying $30 for a very high quality t-shirt that's made by their neighbor, it's never gonna solve itself. Because again, when you're poor, you want poor shit. You want access to poor stuff. When you're rich, you buy rich shit. And I've said it a million times. When you have an American business and you make American products, you pay American wages. $250 in China, $32.50 in America, right? And again, when you have to hire Americans and you have to produce American products, the regulations that are tacked on by the federal government, suddenly people will be like, this is fucking bullshit. The OSHA regulations, you'll say the same thing. This is fucking bullshit, right? A business owner has no incentive to have an unsafe workplace or to pour water into the fucking drink, or to pour chemicals into the drinking water, okay? In China, they don't give a fuck about any of that stuff because everyone's poor, they all want money. Okay, that's why American businesses love to send that work overseas. You guys see how this works? And so again, the poor person and the uninformed person says, well, I want safe air and I want clean drinking water and I want workers to be safe. You're cutting your own throat, guys. You know, again, and if you work for a business in America that isn't being safe or is doing anything, guess what? In America, you can report those businesses, and you should. If you work for a fucktard who is doing things illegally, is a complete douchebag, is fucking either his customers or his employees over, you should absolutely report them. Get rid of those fucking people, because it puts a bad name on all of us. But when you work for a business that sends all that work overseas, you're doing the same thing, except you're doing it to somebody that isn't your neighbor. You're doing it to somebody who doesn't care about clean drinking water and, you know, being able to breathe the air. They don't give a fuck. Okay, so this is the thing that people have got to understand. You've got to wrap your heads around this idea. You know, if you want to have business work again, you want to make good money, you need to get the work back here in America. The only way you can do it is you got to cut these businesses off. You got to forget about your cheap Nike shoes, right? You have to go buy really good shoes. You know, you have to go buy shoes made by Speedland in Portland, Oregon, right? $350 a pair, but you got to be able to, you got to be willing to pay that $350 a pair for a pair of shoes. And then when they go bad, you don't just fucking throw away and go buy another. You go down the street, you pay the cobbler, who's also your neighbor, to resole your shoes. You're going to have to pay him $100 to resole your shoes. That's how this works, right? The leather worker down the street, you know, that also maybe he repairs shoes, maybe he repairs bags, maybe he works on equestrian products, whatever. Maybe he does motorcycle bags. You got to be able to pay him to go work on your shoes. Or here's the really fucked up part. If everything's just really expensive, guess what happens? You learn to do something other than the specialized bullshit that you learned in college. You learn to become more useful than someone who just, you know, clicks on apps on your phone and buys shit on his phone all day long. Maybe you learn how to repair your own fucking deck. Maybe you learn how to, you know, do the brakes on your car. Maybe you learn how to do a whole bunch of things. You expect more from the things that you buy. Instead of your fucking car going bad every 4 years, like, oh, I guess I'll just go buy another one. You go, fuck that. I'm not paying $70,000 for a car and it goes bad every 4 years, which is how it will be. You'll pay more money for everything, but it will last longer. It will be better, and you will pay people around you to fix everything. Corporations don't want that. They want to sell to everybody and use the third world to make everything. Okay, so you got to get a little more local. You're going to get a little bit less worldly, you know. And that people will never do that. They don't want to do it. It's too hard. Just like not taking tax dollars, right? Not fucking taking welfare, not taking Section 8, not taking tax cuts, not taking any of this shit. If we want to pay off our federal debt, if we want to pay less than the federal government, we all have to pitch in. And guess what? Nobody will do it. Not a fucking chance. It's too hard. So, okay, I'm going to go through a few more comments, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. We'll go to the top. We're going to go with, man, we got a lot of comments today, guys. I really appreciate everyone contributing to the conversation today and being a part of it. You know, people I agree with, people I don't disagree with. Again, it's great, and this is what it's about. You're supposed to go back and forth with people, but listen to people that are doing the things that you want to do, guys. Like, don't just listen to people that are, you know, puppets, that are, you know, like characters, right? Like the woodworkers that I talk about, like that bourbon moth, that fucktard that's on, I see him all the time on Instagram and YouTube. Like, that guy's a fucking, he's false, guys. He's a fake, right? Every time you go, oh, I'm gonna make something. Oh, I'm super funny. You guys want to be entertained all the time, and they're entertaining you guys into your own destruction. They're entertaining you guys into oblivion, right? Listen to the people that actually do real work. You know, don't just try and be entertained all the time. Like, try and learn some shit about how the world really works by people that actually have to operate in it, right? You can't just listen to people that tell you how terrible everything is or how they tell you how great everything is. Listen to people that actually do the real work, okay? So let's go through, I'm going to go through 5 comments real quick, and I'm going to call it a day, guys. So last one, we got Gene here. Don't care, I lost America. Well, no, America's still the greatest place on earth, Gene. We got to work on a few things here, and hopefully it'll get better before it gets worse. But we are going into a place where I think we're looking at French Revolution territory, where the poor and the lower class people are going to cut the heads off of the wealthy people. They're going to get tired of waiting to get what it is that they were promised, and they're going to fucking kill everyone. They're going to kill them. They're going to kill their families. They're not even going to know these people ever existed. They're going to erase them from history like the Ottomans, like the Ottoman Empire, excuse me. It's going to get bad if they don't fix this stuff. So, Gene Drips, this is the CS person. CS person, glad you're here, dude. Cynical bass. So, I hope you're a bass player, man. Okay. If it's that bad, speak and show your voice in the polls. Yeah, and this is one of the problems, guys. Like, this is the problem. 75 million people voted for Donald Trump. One of the main pillars of Trump's administration was mass deportations, not criminals, not, murderers, rapists, not the murderers, get the murderers, like whatever the Trump voice says. It was mass deportations. That means everyone. That's what we voted for. That's what everyone voted for. He won the swing states. He won the popular vote. He won everything. That's what we voted for. And now people are pissed and moaning and whining and bitching like, oh, God, we thought these people would just leave on their own, or we didn't think Trump would really do that. There's a lot of us out here that are like, no, this is what we voted for. Get it fucking done, right? Otherwise, we're going to vote you out. And that Nick Fuentes guy, he actually says, if these people don't do what they say they're going to do, vote for the other side. Or don't vote at all. Let the other side win. If no one is going to do what they say they're going to do when they get elected, they're only going to do what the powerful want, then just don't vote. Like, we're going to go into oblivion, and the next step is French Revolution. Plain and simple. And if you guys want, I'll talk about it. I mean, I can talk about Civil War all day long. Like, I know how the Civil War is going to come, and it's not how Tim Pool says it's going to be. Like, it's going to be one state is simply going to be the state that says, you know what, we're not doing this anymore. And you're going to have one state that is then going to be fighting the federal government. And that one state is where everybody will go that agrees with that. And then you're going to have another state, and another state, and another state. And that's how everything will start. So I can talk about exactly how that works, but we'll save that for another day. So, all right, last couple of things. Yes, thank you. I voted for that. It's two-tiered. Yeah, probably. But guys, you've been great. Thanks for hanging out with me. I got to go work. I do like to work. Work is really important to me, and even if people say it's hard, I still like to build furniture. I still like to help my guys. I got to go answer questions. I got to order shit. I got all kinds of things to do. So you guys have a great day, and stay warm.